Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Jazzy Fridays. Right now, we're about to start my favorite part of the show, Jazz Talk, where I interview local jazz musicians. This week, we have Mason. How are you doing, Mason?
Oh, I'm great. Doing really good on this.
There we go.
You just unmute me?
Yeah, I just unmuted you.
I'm doing really good on this Good Friday.
There we go. Can you tell them a little bit about yourselves, like what you're studying here, what you play?
Well, I'm a junior music education major here at WT. I'm a percussionist I do teaching around the area and stuff like that. And then at the university, I play in the Jazz 2 ensemble as a drummer.
There we go. How long have you been playing percussion for?
Well, if we want to get like real nitty gritty, like since I was like 9 years old, so like about 11 years now.
I see. Yeah. When did you start jazz?
It really wasn't until like last year in lessons where I actually started playing jazz music and stuff like that. Like, because I've always had like that interest and stuff like that. And I really wanted to, like in high school, get into like playing jazz vibraphone.
I see, yeah.
But then our jazz band folded in on itself and it just didn't really end up working out.
I get you, yeah. How did you find out about jazz?
Well, like with me and my dad had a really big like because he was a huge music guy. Like he loved anything music. Like we'd always talk about like just what was on the radio. Like we'd listen to American Top 40.
Yeah.
So he kind of introduced me to some stuff like that. But I didn't really like dive into it until maybe like freshman, sophomore year of high school, where I was like, oh, this is a lot bigger than I thought it was.
And did you already know drum set before starting jazz, or is that something you had to pick up and learn?
No, because when at 9 years old, I had a drum set, and like I learned by playing a rock band.
I see, yeah.
Funny enough, but then I kind of like put it away for a while, but I still like had it. So yeah,
okay.
Yeah, so I knew how to play drum set before actually getting into jazz drum set.
What made you so attracted to the genre of jazz?
Well, I like how. Like one way I hear it described a lot is it's the musician's music. Like that's what musicians like to listen to. It's just you just don't hear it a whole lot unless like you're actively seeking it. I really like how like complex some of the stuff is. Like I'll like some nights watching videos like analyzing this tune and like it's like this crazy chord that I've never even heard of. And so I just really like how complex some of it can really be.
I see, yeah. How different was playing jazz compared to playing in a band or orchestra setting?
It's a whole different ball game, especially for like drum set specifically, because like with like playing in band or orchestra, it's like everything is written out for you. Everything is like you play this note, then with this dynamic at that time. For jazz, there's a lot of these unwritten rules about like okay, I have to set up this next hit. I have to change what cymbal I'm playing on. I have to do this. And sometimes the music will tell you everything you need, but like an example like from our last concert or Decubitus, my part was just slashes the whole time. So it's like I have to go listen to the track. I have to do all this extra stuff to figure out, okay, what do I need to do for each section, stuff like that.
I see. I know you got into a little bit with this. Does the way you think change when you play jazz?
Oh, yeah. I think absolutely. Like, there's still like that, like, I still have to perform well mentality, like, trying to be a good musician thing. But, yeah, I have to, like, two sides of my brain have to split off from that orchestral percussionist to jazz drummer sort of thing. Like I have to think a lot differently about like my approach.
I see. What are some role models you have in the world of jazz, either being famous people or people you know personally?
Well, I think for like, I guess like some of my colleagues I really look up to. Like I really admire their playing. Like Tristan Mao is a really good example. He's a great drummer. Of course, y'all had him on last week, Peyton. I asked him quite a few questions. There's Dr. Bomi.
Yeah.
Great drummers. And then like I guess like the famous people, like there's like Elvin Jones is up there. Like just all these great drummers. I always kind of blank on the names. I'm not as like knowledgeable on names, but I try to find whatever I can to just kind of like, okay, I need to play like that person.
I see. Yeah. What are some of your favorite jazz artists, and why are they your favorite?
Well, I think like right now, like my big favorite ones are like Chick Corea, Gary Burton, Insane in the Rain music. I listen to him quite a bit.
Okay,
Yeah.
what are some of your favorite subgenres of jazz?
What do you mean by that?
So like a lot of music has like different. So it's like the main genre,
Right.
And like a lot of stems. So we have like funk jazz, Latin jazz.
Yeah, I guess it would be like depending on who you ask, it's like it can be a touchy subject. But like I guess like I really listen to more like fusion jazz stuff, a lot of Latin stuff I really enjoy listening to.
What's your when you're improvising, what is going through your mind?
I think like the biggest thing is trying to, like if it's a solo or like an open solo and I have like X amount of bars, it's like, okay, how many, like just trying to keep counting in my head so I don't like either end early or end late, that sort of thing. But like with most drum set playing in jazz in general, it's a lot of it is improv. So it's just like, okay, keeping the groove going, like having to think of these fill ideas, solo ideas, and just trying to make it simple yet effective, I think, is what I try to strive for.
For you personally, do you like a more complex drum set with like extra drums and cymbals, or do you like a more simple, just basic kit?
I think it really it depends on the context. Like, cause for like some stuff, I would prefer like a couple extra rack toms, an extra floor tom, a ton of millions of cymbals, stuff like that. But I think for jazz, to keep me on track, I like to have like the smaller kit that we use with like just snare, kick, one rack tom and a floor tom, and then ride, crash, and maybe another crash.
Yeah.
Like to keep it more simple. One thing that like I've talked to many people about is like you have to be really creative with all of these. Like if you're using a smaller kit and you get all these different voices that you've never really heard, like with pitch bending or playing on the rim, or like I've even seen some videos where they're playing on that top pull on a hi-hat in the middle of one of their solos.
I see. Yeah. Why do you think jazz and people's emotions have such a close connection?
I really think it has to deal with a lot of like the history, like, cause it's deeply rooted in this African American culture, and they like weren't allowed to go talk to people after, that sort of thing. I think that has a lot to do with it, like with blues specifically, but also I guess like with a lot of music nowadays where it's like almost programmatic, where like you're given this emotion to feel.
I see. Yeah.
Some stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, this next segment is called Jazz or Not, where I basically ask you certain people or things, and I basically want to see if you think it's jazz or not.
Okay.
So first up, Frank Sinatra, jazz or not?
I think he definitely leans more on the side of jazz than not, because he typically plays like either a combo or a big band, but like it comes down with like how much he's improvising. There hasn't been, at least from the stuff I've listened to, where he's like scatting or stuff like that, but I think it has enough elements to still kind of be like right on the edge of jazz. Like I think he'd be that border.
I see. Next, Leve. Do you think she's jazz or not?
Yeah, I think so. She's done a whole lot for, I guess, the jazz community with like bringing in a lot of people that aren't like a lot of people who just enjoy pop and stuff like that, bringing them into like this new genre. A lot of her stuff is jazz inspired, but she's also like just doing so much. Like, and she's a very talented musician, like great singer. She does these improv solos where she's scatting and stuff like that. She plays the cello, piano, all sorts of stuff. So I think, yeah, I would say Leve for sure.
I see. Billy Joel, jazz or not?
No, I think Billy Joel has a lot of stuff that is definitely influenced. Like I guess like Piano Man would be a great example. Like playing that piano intro and stuff like that uses a lot of the same elements in jazz.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't put him under that umbrella of jazz. I think he just goes more into like rock and roll.
I see. Okay. Next is when you play a jazz sounding orchestra piece or band piece. Do you think that would be jazz or not? For example, I played the Kevin Day Concerto a year ago, and that had a lot of jazz elements. Would you consider that whole piece to be jazz?
Definitely jazz inspired. I wouldn't put it under that umbrella because like almost everything in there was written out except for like some stuff that like the drummer can do. So that everything is written out for you. You have to. A lot of these musicians like don't know the style and stuff. So there's like usually you have to take another day to be like, okay, this is how you play it.
Yeah.
Rather than just being like, okay, go play it. That sort of thing.
Next up is video game jazz.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think like because that's what like I listen to that almost every single day.
I see.
Like with like Insane in the Rain, like I had mentioned, 8-Bit Big Band is huge, and I think if you're winning Grammys, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
So yeah, and they do a lot like with improv. They have these huge studios, very talented musicians. So yeah, I would say video game jazz for sure.
Well, next up is overproduced recordings. Do you think that's jazz or not?
Can you give me like an example?
So like say sometimes a lot of people, if they're making something for a movie or something, sometimes the musicians are not even in the same room. They're in separate rooms, and they just kind of pile the tracks on top of each other and just add a lot of filters to make them sound like perfect.
Yeah, I would no. Because jazz has such a opportunity to be so organic. Like from my experience, like with playing with like a combo, like you're just playing off of each other's ideas, and if you're in that setting like where you're in a booth just playing along with a click or whatever it might be, you don't get that organic feeling from the other musician. So there are definitely some tunes that I like that have been like overly produced, and that sort of thing that would fall under like the jazz genre. But I think as an idea, it's not jazz.
I see. Well, last one, modern songs with jazz implements in them.
Give me an example of that.
So, like, for example, a Kendrick Lamar song has a whole portion where it's just a saxophone solo. Would you consider the whole song to be jazz or just a jazz-inspired portion?
I think that there's some stuff there that, like pop, right? Just stuff like that. I think there is like a lot of good stuff that has a lot of good jazz influence, like I guess like you just mentioned with the Kendrick Lamar and the saxophone solo. But I don't think that's still like if it's how I'm thinking of, like a lot of stuff will have like a drum machine going or like that overly produced kind of aspect with it. So I would say no, not really. But there are definitely some good jazz inspired stuff out there.
Well, the next question I have for you is that if you could take the writing ability or the playing ability of any jazz artist ever, who and why would you pick them?
I think it really comes down between like two people, either like Gary Burton and like his ability to like his like cuz I tried learning a piece by him on vibraphone and it was a transcription from him playing a standard on a radio show, and he like I watched the video and he doesn't have any music in front of him. He's improving the whole thing, so it's like stuff like that, and he's a great player. But then like there's the other end, like with Insane in the Rain, because if you ever watch like some of his like especially some of his older stuff, like as he has videos like where he's playing every single part, like he's playing the bass, he plays these crazy saxophone licks, he's playing the drums, piano. It's like stuff like that, and then of course his arrangements are really good. I think I would have to go with like Insane in the Rain, being able to pick up an instrument and play it within a couple of weeks really well.
I see, what is one of your favorite memories relating to jazz?
That's a tough one. I guess just like the first concert I played here with the jazz band. It was just like a ton of fun, and like there were a couple instances where like I made a mistake, like I almost threw my stick halfway across the stage, and like it fell on the snare drum. I had to recover, but like I was looking at Emily, the pianist, in the eyes, and we're laughing about it while we're playing. So just having those again, like an example of that organic feeling, and just having fun. Yeah. Like I was talking to my mom the other day, because she was like, "Oh, is playing in jazz band your favorite?" I said, "Well, I said it's definitely the most fun and the least stressful. Like, cause like there are aspects that can be very stressful, like especially for some of the horn parts, but it like cause you just go, like as a drummer, you just go, you groove, you have fun. It's really just fun, and I really enjoy doing it.
I get you. Yeah. How do you feel about the direction that jazz is currently going in?
I think there are like two ends of like, I guess, thought. Like, because there are some people who think that it's dying. There are some people who think that it's better than it ever has been. So I think like if we can get both of those teams on the same side, like, cause they're I think it is like doing really well right now, and like even like some of the stuff I'll see on social media, it's like so and so playing at this club nearby. It's like I didn't even know that we had people playing this kind of music nearby. And like on my YouTube recommended, I've been getting like it's called the Smalls Club, and they'll have like different quartets playing. It's live streaming on YouTube, and there's like a couple thousand people watching. So I think it's in a really good place right now where it is.
I see. Yeah. What is one of your favorite jazz albums and why?
Even though it's not really like jazz, like just strictly jazz, like I'd probably say "A Light as a Feather" by Chick Corea and Return to Forever.
Yeah.
The first time I heard it, it was very different from anything I had ever really heard. And like it has great vocal tracks, and then of course Chick Corea on keys playing the craziest stuff you've ever heard sometimes. But then also like it was a huge gateway into like different ideas I can implement as a drummer, like with these different styles, mainly like Latin fusion type stuff. Like, so yeah, I've spent a lot of time listening to that album, especially within the past couple of years.
Yeah. What were some of the people you try to replicate the way you played the kit when you were starting to learn jazz or getting more into jazz?
That one's really tough, like, because when I was first starting to get into it, it was like just playing along with a track out of this book I was assigned for my lesson. So, like, I guess I don't know. That's a tough one. I guess like just people I know. Yeah. Like, of course, like I mentioned earlier, like listening to Tristan playing, and then like just trying to have my own spin on it of just other people I've listened to, like with Tristan, like he does like quite a bit around the kit, and he's really talented, but I like to keep it a little more lax. So I think I like taking these ideas from other people and then just like implementing into my own playing and like just making it into my own the best I can.
I see. What has been your favorite track list of a concert you've ever played in?
Well, I've only really played in two.
Yeah.
I guess this last one had a lot of really good stuff. Like, cause what it was, I'm already forgetting. Like there was only one track that I like didn't like, and that was All the Things You Are. I see, yeah. I wasn't a fan of the arrangement, but everything else that we played Spain, played Or de Cubitus by Charles Mingus, a lot of really really fun and good stuff.
What is one chart you that's like your dream to perform?
Ooh, I haven't thought about that. I don't know. I'd have to do some digging to just like what would I like. I guess more like self-reflection. What would I want to perform? Yeah. Because I guess I've never really been asked that. Like, cause I always like I guess like in my experience with jazz band, it's like, okay, you're now playing this. Like, I guess like I'd like to play more swing stuff. Playing more video game music would be awesome. Yeah. Playing like cause like I saw the I think it was the PMA big band doing the Mario Kart thing. Yeah. Like that stuff is really cool. I think. Like, I guess that would be my dream thing. Being good enough to play those tunes on the spot like that. Like the Mario Kart stuff would be really cool.
Well, that leads to my next question, which is if you could pick your dream, I guess trumpet player, saxophone player, and piano player to play with you, who would it be? Either living or dead, whoever, anyone you could ever want.
I guess like for piano, I think I'd have to go with Chick Corea. trumpet. It's probably I forget her name, but she's this she comes up on social media all the time. I forget her name, but she's really good. I think it's like Hannah something. I don't really remember. And saxophone. I don't know. Honestly, just that like Dr. Barger.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys that saxophone players at WT are really really good.
How do you feel about the jazz influence in modern music?
I think it's great. I really enjoy like especially like softer like piano melodies, stuff like that, like more light stuff. I think it's really good, and it does a lot to like the stuff like that Leve does with like introducing these people who haven't heard this genre before into like this gateway into jazz, even though they might not go listen to one of that like a jazz album on their own or something like that.
In your opinion, why do you think the kit has such an important role in a jazz band?
Well, I like how some people describe it. That's the groove, but like I was on the way here, I was listening to Gary Burton and Chick Corea's Duets album.
Yeah.
Where it's just piano and vibraphone, and that's just as much jazz as like any group. And I think like drum set can play such a pivotal role, like with like having like setups and fills and stuff like that. But I don't think it's necessary. Like I think like a good combo is like bass, keys, drums, and a horn of sorts usually. But like drums like could either be like if you don't have a drummer, it's not the end of the world.
I see.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I do think it does add a lot. Like if it's a good drummer, that is. Like 'cause if you have a bad drummer, that could either make it or break it.
Yeah.
Like so I'm trying to think of what to say. Like a good drummer, and you'll be in like a really safe spot. If you like get a bad drummer, you'll be okay if you tell them like, hey, don't play for this chart or whatever.
I see. Yeah. The next question I have for you is, what do you hope for jazz in the future?
I hope it keeps growing, and I would really like because we have these standards. I would really like for a lot more things to be considered standards. Like I guess like having like just keep adding, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people are just adding to the list of standards. But just listening to it grow and evolve, I think like because we don't have to always play. Like I guess like I'll use My Favorite Things as an example. We don't have to play it all the same way. And I also really like just listening to everybody's interpretation. That goes back to that organic aspect, just like what people are thinking, how they think it should sound. I really think like we should have more people doing jazz. All these great musicians you'll see out there, and they're not doing jazz.
Yeah. Why do you think it's so important to listen to jazz live instead of streaming it?
Oh, that like I just said, that really gives you that organic. Like, cause if you're like at like a bar or something, like I guess I'll use the Drunken Oyster, and they have a live jazz band, they will react to how the audience is most of the time. So like that can play a huge part. And of course, like if you're listening to like a recording of a standard, and you're just listening to the same recording, that solo that saxophone player takes is going to be the same every time. But if like you go to like the Drunken Oyster one week, and then you go to like the Western Horseman Club another week, and they're playing the exact same set list, each song will most likely be different in one way. So I think that really watching it live makes it a lot better, and because you don't know what to expect.
Yeah. For you personally, why do you think? I know you and Pate both played accessories for the jazz band concerts. Why do you think accessories give such a different like vibe to a different piece, and why you think they might or may not be important to a jazz chart?
Well, for like as we both played on more Latin inspired pieces, like as First Circle kind of had this samba feel, even though it's probably not a samba. And then Spain, like as a lot of this, like when you see people playing with like a shaker or like I guess congas or just whatever, it's typically like Latin charts, and that just goes back to like the history of like Afro-Cuban music, where they're playing, like it'll be a group of musicians. Like you'll have a timbale player that has the cymbals and stuff, a conga player, bongos, all these different stuff. So if like you're playing a Latin chart and you don't have like say congas, it really does take a lot away from that, I guess, authentic experience.
Yes, yeah.
But also like other stuff, like just adding shaker and just like something light it adds a lot of depth, a lot more texture.
Yeah. Without being biased, what is one of your favorite jazz instruments?
Probably either like piano or vibraphone, I think.
Why are they your favorite?
Well, with piano, or I guess keys in general, like as with like a lot of synths, you get a ton of different sounds. With vibraphone, you can get. I'm trying not to be biased, but like with vibraphone, there's a lot of visual things that you can take into account. Like it's a lot, for me, it's a lot more entertaining watching a vibraphone player shred, because you physically you see sweat dripping down their face as they're doing a run. And then like just piano, because like keys can really do everything. Like, cause like there are a ton of solo piano jazz albums out there that are really nice to listen to, where they're playing bass and the melody and comping chords all at the same time. So I think it's really those key instruments, those keyboard instruments, I guess I'll put them all into one category.
Yeah. What's one dream location you wish you could perform a jazz set at?
I don't know. Probably just like I guess like a well-populated city. Like I guess like I'll use San Antonio for example, like the Riverwalk.
Yeah.
But like just outside on the street, a ton of foot traffic. Probably not the Riverwalk since it's pretty gross, but
Yeah.
but like outside where there's a ton of people coming in and out, I think would be the dream gig.
What advice do you have for up-and-coming jazz musicians?
I guess to just always try an idea, and usually people love it, and if they don't, just put in that cabinet that you have of just all these different ideas, but don't be afraid to try new ideas.
I see.
I guess that would be where I was going with that.
Yeah. Well, as we get to the end of the show, this moment is for you to promote anything you want, just shout out any musicians you want, promote any recitals coming up, any concerts coming up. The moment is yours.
Well, I know tonight we got two great recitals. Adam Johnson trumpet recital, which I believe is at 5, right? And then Peyton Hayes junior percussion recital, which I'll be performing, and we'll be playing an arrangement of Chick Corea's Armando's Rumba for marimba and vibraphone, and that'll be at 7:30. And then there are a couple. I believe tomorrow there's another percussion recital. Piper Fowler's playing, and then of course come to the music showcase May 2nd.
Yeah, there we go. We will both be performing at the pre-show. And then the last thing I have for you is I always ask my guests to recommend one song. What song would you like to recommend?
We'll do "Gotta Match" by Chick Corea Electric Band.
Can I ask why you picked that one?
I don't know. It's just been on my mind lately. There's like a lick in there that I really enjoy. It's a lot of this cool fusion stuff.
Yeah.
No real particular reason. It was just what I had next on cue.
Yeah.
In my playlist, I decided that I'll stick with that.
There we go. Well, we're coming to the end of the show now. Of course, we have our Polaroid picture that we'll take after every show, after every interview. So make sure to stay tuned for that. And then, do you have anything else to add?
Have a good day.
Oh, there we go. Well, thank you once again, Mason, for coming on to the show. You were a very good guest. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope you have a good day. I hope everyone else has a good day. Keep listening. We have way more stuff coming up. Of course, we got a match right after this. And then stay tuned for the Polaroid. You don't want to miss it. But other than that, everyone have a good day. I'll catch you all in a little bit.